In the Gita, Shri Krishna said, Karm karo and phal ki chinta mat karo, which means do the work without obsessing over the rewards. But the older I get, the more I realize its deeper meaning. Like why do some people are very happy in their jobs, or why people in high paying jobs are still miserable? Because when the fruit becomes the only purpose, like promotion, salary, job security, exam results, CTC, and all that, the work itself gets ignored. And modern psychology also agrees with the Gita on this. So, what is work? Work is not just force into displacement, as we have learned in ninth class. And in the 21st century, work is survival, prestige, purpose, and the most important part, identity. A society only grows when its people are doing some productive work. Like you have engineers, doctors, scientists, uh, analysts, or mothers, or factory workers. They all create value. While some live off that value, that number is very small, and we've talked about them. It's called the free rider problem in one of the past videos. And honestly, every society has some of it. But for most of us, work today is deeply connected with our identity. Even today, India is the third largest economy in the world. Yet there's a yet there's a big hierarchy in our society. And at the top of that hierarchy lies the prestigious government jobs. And those are important because we do not have sufficient unemployment benefits, a strong social security, or a strong healthcare like in the Western countries. So having a government jobs gives you access to all of those things, and that's why roughly 12 to 13 lakh people, which is more than a million, people apply for UPSC CSE every year, even though the rate of success is less than 0.1%. So for millions of people, it's not just about a job. In Western countries, not having a job will not destroy your life, but that is not the case with our country. Companies like Meta, Apple, Google, they drive the economy. Uh, yeah, but so in the Indian context, when roughly a million people are applying each year, what is happening to those who are not getting them, who are not successful in clearing the exam? But the question is, are we really happy in doing what we are doing? Because ultimately, salary is important. Staying close with your parents is important. Having a good work life balance is important. Having some amount of prestige around the job is important. So, how is happiness in a job decided? I was reading a book called Drive by Daniel Pink, and he says happiness at work doesn't come from salaries or promotions. It comes from three psychological needs. And as I was reading through his work, and a lot of things started to make sense to me. Like why some companies thrive, or why some teams thrive and others don't. So the three fundamental needs were autonomy, mastery, and purpose. As the name suggests, autonomy, it is having a control over what I do, or I have control over how I work. As human beings, we do not like being controlled. So autonomy is the first and the most important fundamental need. When we have a small amount of control on how we are going to do our work, or what are we going to do, we naturally become more responsible and more creative, because autonomy also gives ownership. And in places where autonomy is missing, people lose creativity, and they just follow orders. They become scared of making mistakes, and innovation dies, and work starts to feel like a cage. So micromanagement kills motivation faster than lower salary, and I've seen this in my past company also. So when I was working at a startup, and my team had a lot of autonomy because we were pioneering our work, and there were no industry standard rules which were being followed. Ultimately, we were responsible for what we were doing, but we were very creative in how we want to do stuff, or how we wanted to present some information, which allowed us to scale very faster. And since it was a B2B chemicals marketplace, I always wondered how we are going to compete with a big competition like Dow or DuPont or other big chemical manufacturers, billions of dollars of cash on their hand. Uh, and how a small team of 35 people is going to compete with a company of 10,000 people. But I learned that having autonomy helped us a lot. And although we were a team of 35 people only, we were still able to produce something which was even better than what the industry was using at that time. The second thing Daniel Pink talks about is mastery, or the feeling that I'm getting better at something meaningful. Imagine you have to perform a very repetitive task. Let's say just generating a report every single day of your life. It's very easy. You can do that. Let's say you can do that in 10 minutes. But will you be happy doing that for the remainder of your life? I don't think you would want that. You would want to grow in your role. Mastery matters because growth is a very fundamental need. When we feel we are improving, whether it be building a tool or teaching a group of kids or being a doctor, ultimately we become confident and more alive. And if growth is not present, then every single day is repetitive, and ultimately people feel stuck and burned out. The third thing that Daniel talks about is purpose, or why my work matters. Because purpose is the emotional engine. When we know our work is actually helping someone, like volunteering at an NGO after working your whole week, even on difficult days, because purpose creates pride. Pride at what you're doing and how that is going to make an impact, whether it be volunteering at an NGO on weekends or working on a personal project. So autonomy, mastery, and purpose are not luxury concepts. They are psychological needs. When they are present, we are excited about our work, we are creative, and we actually enjoy ourselves. But when they are absent, well, the work itself feels very heavy. So, what makes us happy for a job? Before reading Drive, I used to believe it was salary, promotion, job security, or the benefits that comes with the job. But these are only extrinsic motivation. Uh, the real intrinsic motivation comes from the 3 points that we have discussed. So the real question isn't which job is better. The real question is which motivation fuels you. Do you want autonomy on your work? Do you want mastery? Or are you looking for a purpose? Because these three can be different. And all of this is very important because for a healthy adult, you're supposed to work like 30, 35 years of your life. And you would not want to invest all those years in something that you do not enjoy. Money is a big reason we work, but that should not be the only reason. In the 20th century, or in the age of industrial revolution, the carrot and stick method of management was followed, where people who performed good were rewarded and people who were not up to the mark were given a sharp stick. But in that era, the output could be measured or quantified. That is not true for today's digital era. So happiness isn't the type of job you do. It's actually finding a right fit for your personality and motivation.